Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is still doing well, and welcome to this night-ending bonus upload. Before we jump into it, a couple quick links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman, Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click that bell icon. And folks, please leave a comment and share the video. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help this channel to continue to grow and go. They definitely do matter, and they are appreciated. And with that, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to this night-ending bonus upload, shall we? Today's first part of the upload. My mom and I are driving home after having lunch/dinner at our new property with friends and family. My aunt's in front of us, and we're following her home. She's going the same way as us, since we live pretty close together. We reach a bend, and my aunt slows down, and her lights shine on a dog. I immediately recognize it as my mom says, "Aw, look at the cute dog." It's taller than the average dog, and wider, but not in that overfed way. Its hair was very long and matted, some pieces reaching the ground, and jet black. Its face was huge and smiling, with yellow eyes, and its mouth was ajar. I tell her before she finishes her sentence that it's not a dog about 3 times in a row. She responds with, "Yes, it is." Oh my God, it isn't. Before she could tell me that it was a dog, it stared right at her into her eyes, windows tinted and up. She feels the same chill as I did when I originally saw it. After glancing at it, at first I no longer looked at it directly, because I knew that it could hear what I was thinking. Its gait was as if a human was on all fours. It was extremely disproportionate and large. I've never seen fur that long on a dog. It looked as if a pelt was just thrown on it and hanging loosely. We get home, my aunt says she didn't even see it, though we assumed she slowed down to look at it, since my mom and her are big animal lovers and affectionate. We get inside, my aunt drives home, my mom and I discuss it. She agrees that it was not a dog. I've experienced the same thing a few times now, but I believe once you know, you can always recognize them. This shit's scary. Today's second part of the upload. I used to live in Louisville, Colorado. One day I'm driving around and I heard a very loud female human scream. I start driving the direction to see if someone needs help. When I got close to where I heard the sound, a coyote walked across the road on its hind legs. It was taller than I was, so 3 times the size of other coyotes in the area. As it walks by, it stares into my eyes and screams again. Its screams were so loud it hurt my ears and made me jump. Its eyes glowed momentarily, but that was probably reflections from my headlight. As I drove past, it dropped to all fours and just ran off. This wasn't exactly in the middle of nowhere either. It was in the middle of our town, close to hotels, restaurants, the golf course, and only a few miles from some neighborhoods and schools. Today's third part of the upload. So I spent a lot of time out at my friend's property in Plateville, Colorado. 2 nights ago, we're just hanging out. I decide it's getting late and time to head home. It's about 12 a.m., so I jump in the car and drive down his dirt road when my headlight suddenly dimmed, and my motor sounds strange, so I slow down. I drive a pretty modified car, so it has a lot of weird issues, and I wasn't really too worried. So I open my glove box and grab my flashlight, and I look up and see something standing in the road. I quickly reach back into the glove box and grab my gun. So I hit it with the flashlight and this thing starts to move. It looks like a coyote, but a lot bigger, and instead of paws in the front, it almost has human-like hands. Now, the other issue is that this thing is massive. It was the size of a St. Bernard, if not bigger. It walked off the road into the field. I tried to find it with a flashlight, but it was gone, so I moved back to the car, took off, and now it wasn't acting weird anymore. About 5 minutes later, the same thing happens, and that creature is sitting in the road again. This time I did not stop, I just kept going. And I didn't hit anything, it was just gone. I grew up on a farm, so I'm used to strange noises and weird animals. This thing was different. I've never been so scared in my entire life. I was shaking and short of breath for 2 hours afterward. Today's fourth part of the upload. So I'm an avid hunter, and every year in my early 20s I'd spend every weekend in the woods of the national park near Oklahoma, close to Red River. I'd normally trek in about 3 to 4 miles. My first encounter was about 10 years ago. I had set up along a clearing that was a good 20 feet up in a tree. As dawn was approaching, I had a large 12-point buck slowly coming into the clearing, about 300 to 400 yards off. I let it come closer, took aim, and shot it in the kill zone through the heart and lungs with my .30-06, 195 grain ballistic tip round. After watching it fall through my scope, I slung my gun and was ready to climb down out of the tree stand. I watched this deer get up and run back into the woods on 2 legs. I had no idea what had just happened, but I've heard stories in my youth from my grandfather, who's half Native American. So I got the hell out of there as fast as possible. A few years later, I'm hunting in the same area. I'd set my stand and ladder at the previous day. At around midnight, I hiked out to my stand to get ready for dawn. I get into my stand around 2 a.m. I'm waiting patiently. After a couple of hours, around 30 minutes till sunup, I hear something grab a hold of my ladder. Then it sounded like something was climbing my ladder. I pointed my rifle straight down and fired. I hit something on the first shot and heard a scream. So I naturally emptied the rifle, still pointing straight down my ladder. I did not dare look down in fear of what I would see. I pulled out my .357 Magnum revolver and proceeded to empty the cylinder towards the sound of movement. Once that was spent, I reloaded it and continued the barrage. There was still something out there, and I could hear it. I had one gun with ammo left, pulled out my 9mm that I kept for self-defense, just in case. I fired a few rounds toward the noise I heard. Then I waited till morning. A few rounds left in my 9mm and clutching it for dear life. When morning finally came around, I looked at my surroundings and climbed out of the tree. Around the tree stand was a dark blackish blood, and it went off deeper into the woods. I hiked to the trail as fast as I could, and when I got there, I saw someone else in the distance. They were going the same direction I was, and he looked scared. I reloaded everything while he was closing the distance, and once he got closer, I asked him if he was heading out as well. He told me he heard a lot of gunshots earlier and a scream. I asked him where he was posted up, and he pointed in the direction I saw the blood trail go. He said he heard something run by him after the gunshots had stopped, and when dawn hit, he saw something animalistic running around on 2 legs. I got his name and we'll call him Jim. He told me that we should get out of the woods. He's native to the area, half Cherokee. If what he saw was what he thought, we needed to leave. We got out of the woods. Surprisingly, we both parked in the same area. We drank a beer. At around noon, summoned up enough courage to go back for our things. After a slow hike, we went to my stand first. My steel ladder that was secured by ratchet straps and bungees to the tree had been ripped from the tree. It was bent and tore up. My tree stand is still in that tree to this day, I assume. He looked at the blood trail and then went white. The tracks were a mix of human and canine. We made it to his tree stand after a bit. He was only 800 feet from where I was, surprisingly. His gear was strewn across the forest floor like mine, a bent ladder, but unlike my tree stand, his had been ripped off the tree and thrown. We both left the area and went back to our vehicles. So, after that last encounter, Jim and I traded phone numbers, hung out when I went up there to hunt. It kind of became a thing to go hunting together. He knew the woods there better than I did, and he was great company. About 2 years after the incident that caused us to meet, we were posted up in a blind in a clearing. We generally put our stands close or hunted back to back in a blind over the 2 years we had hunted together. If one of us had a shot when we were in the blind, we would signal the other with a tap on the elbow. That morning, both of us had a shot. We both fired. I hit a doe I was aiming at square in the chest. As it went down, it turned and ran on its back legs, dead, sprinting into the woods. Jim's quarry did the same thing after he hit it. We went to investigate, and once the animals turned, the hoof prints got larger and then changed to human tracks. Jim said we should leave, and I was not going to disagree with him. We both stopped hunting in those woods after that last encounter. I have no idea what the hell I saw those encounters. I've heard of shapeshifters and shit like that, but I thought they were more durable. I used a 30-06 with 195 grain ballistic tip rounds every time I went hunting. Those are my experiences. I hope you guys learned something from them. Maybe someone has some thoughts on what happened in those woods. Today's fifth encounter. Years ago, I used to work at a nature facility that was around 500 acres with a few miles of walking trails. One day I had a lady come into the office and tell me there was a dead armadillo in the middle of one of the trails. I went to clean it up. It had a single bite to its underbelly. The next day I was walking the trails. I came across another armadillo. Same thing, single bite to the underbelly. This went on for 14 days. Every day I had to remove an armadillo. Day 13, I was on the trail on the back side of the park. While I was cleaning up the armadillo, an old man, looking to be in his late 70s, with sun-weathered skin, came walking up to me. He was wearing an old Western-style shirt. He said, "He's just messing with you." I stated, "Hey, bud, what you talking about?" He said, "The trickster." I said, "Do what now?" He said, "The coyote. He's just messing with you. He thinks it's funny how mad you get." I said, "Well, I wish he'd stop." The old man just chuckled and started walking off. I told him, "Have a good day, bud." He waved while walking off and said, "You too," turning around the bend in the trail. I tossed the armadillo into the brush. I was less than 10 seconds behind the old man. I turned the bend and he was gone. I looked all over for him. I walked the trails for hours, asking everyone I saw if they had seen him. No one had. The next day I got to work, went to the office, checked my emails, opened my window blinds, and there was an armadillo with one bite in its underbelly, lying under my window. That was the last day, day 14. I sat there thinking the old man's shirt had geometric coyotes in the desert. I'm pretty sure that old man was the trickster. Was he the fabled coyote? Today's sixth encounter. A few years ago, I used to have to go on a long drive from northern Illinois down to western Kentucky, just about twice a month. I'd gotten to the point where I knew the drive like the back of my hand. Sometimes it was actually a lot better to make the drive early in the evening and do a bulk of the 9-hour drive through the night, just getting me there about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. No traffic, and in the summer it was relaxing to drive with all the windows down. After crossing into Kentucky, there was about 2 hours of road without even a highway light. But, like I said, I had done this so many times before. One of my last trips, I had been heading down that stretch and had my brights on. In the distance, on my driver's side of the shoulder, I could see what I thought was a deer. Got a little closer and realized it was a wolf. Now I'm coming up on this, and it's on all fours, but its back had to be almost level with the roof of my sedan. I thought, holy shit, that thing's huge. Now I'm probably doing 80, and I swear we lock eyes. I can feel him looking directly at me. I'm getting closer and closer. Now I can actually see his teeth. I couldn't believe what I was seeing was an actual animal. Then I was probably 50 feet from this thing, about to pass it on the driver's side shoulder, and the thing stood up on two legs, just standing there, looking at me, directly into my eyes. I passed, and the rest of the drive I tried to figure out what I had seen, or should I stop and loop back around? I never told anyone that experience, because most people would say, oh, it was late, your mind was playing tricks on you. But still to this day, I won't forget how long that stare down was. I can't help but think I didn't catch him by surprise. More like he wanted me to see him, and if he really wanted to stop me, he could have. Today's seventh encounter. Back in January of 2010, I was driving to LA after spending the holidays with my family. I-40 the whole way. After a long day of driving, I stopped at Holbrook, Arizona to get a hotel for the night. I get my room, pull around the back parking lot, park my car, open the back door, and start grabbing my bags and stuff to bring inside for the night. All of a sudden, I hear this crazy-sounding roar. The closest I can come to describing it is a mixture of a bear roaring, a pig squealing, and a baby crying. I froze, looked up, and standing on the edge of a raised parking lot next door was some kind of man-dog thing. It was probably 7 to 8 feet tall. I look at it, it roars again. I take off running toward my hotel room. I get to the door scared shitless, fumbling with my key card, and it roars again, like it's just to my left. I get the key in the door, lock the door, and run into the bathroom and lock that door as well. I sat there for maybe 30 minutes. Then I grabbed the pillows and blankets off the bed and slept in the bathtub all night with the door locked. I started searching on my phone for what the hell that was in the night, and I learned about Skinwalkers, Dogman, and Sasquatch. If they exist, then what the hell else does that isn't supposed to? What was almost just as crazy is that when I bolted towards my room and left my car unlocked and the doors wide open, they stayed open all night and nothing was taken or stolen. I had a bunch of music equipment in there. But, yeah, be careful on the edge of the Navajo reservation. Today's eighth part of the upload. Hey there, my name is Brad. I'm somewhat of an adrenaline junkie. What I do to get this fix of adrenaline is I'd go in search of nothing in particular and just hope something happens. Sometimes I'd get more than I wanted. This was one of those times, with the exception that I was not seeking adrenaline. Be warned, some of the events in this story may be disturbing. The date was October 14th, 2010. I used to live on a decently sized property in the mountains of northwestern Georgia. I loved it up there. So many places to wander off to, and so many places to have a little hideout. It was the day before my uncle's birthday, and me and him wanted to go to our favorite hangout spot, which we called the broccoli tree. In a nutshell, it was an uprooted tree with a big hole enough to fit a couple of chairs and some things where the roots had been. We did some modifications, put a tarp over it so we could stay there even if it rained. So me and my uncle are walking out to the tree, which is a good 15-minute walk from the front porch of my house. As soon as we break into the tree line, we start messing around, pushing each other playfully, without a care in the world. My uncle and I had walked to this tree so many times that we could find it in the pitch dark, so we weren't really that afraid. I sort of had this feeling like we were being watched, but, I shrugged it off, just a little, and kept walking. Now skip forward a little bit to our arrival at our hangout tree. Nothing seemed out of place, so we went inside and sat down. We started to talk about specific things that he had seen while out hunting and things like that. Then he mentioned Skinwalker. Confused, I asked him what that was, and he broke it down so I could understand him. He said they were half man, half beast that could shapeshift. I laughed at this and asked him if he had been playing too much Diablo recently, not thinking that he was serious. He looked me in my eyes with a dead serious look on his face and said he saw one while hunting. My excitement immediately turned to fear as I remembered that I had felt something was watching us on the way to the tree. I tell him that I had a feeling like we were being watched, and he said he did as well. We started listening closely to see if we could hear anything outside the tree, but everything was silent. We both looked at each other and decided we had to leave and leave now. We emerged from the tree and he tells me to jump onto his back so he could run. I did so, and the moment I was on his back and he had a tight grip, we heard something from behind us. I went to turn around and look and see what it was, but my uncle stopped me. Then he started running. Back to the house in the pitch black with something after us. I could hear its footfalls behind us, heavy breathing. It was getting louder. It was getting closer. I screamed faster to my uncle and he starts dead-ass sprinting through the woods. Then the front porch light comes into view through the trees and I say, "There it is." Then my uncle trips over himself and we both catch air. I was flung a little higher, so I landed closer to the house than he did. He looked back at me and screamed at me to run and not worry about him. I didn't listen. I ran over to help when something hit me square in the chest and knocked me back. "Don't look," my uncle screams. I wish I would have listened. I look up and see a man with a dog-like head and glowing, solid white eyes. My uncle tries to scurry away from it, but it grabs him and picks him up by his feet and stares into its eyes. Then came a gunshot. The beast tosses my uncle into the tree and scurries away, frightened. That's when the other uncle comes up from behind me and helps my other uncle off the ground. I slowly stood up, wiped myself off, and asked what that thing was. My uncle looks at me and says one word, "Skinwalker." Then all three of us go back up to the house. A couple days later, the uncle that was with me was deployed overseas to Korea. We tried to forget about to the house in almost the pitch darkness with something chasing us. I could hear its footfalls behind us, heavy breathing getting closer and louder. I scream faster at my uncle. He starts dead-ass sprinting through the woods. Then the front porch light comes into view through the trees. I say, "There it is." My uncle trips over himself and we both catch air. I was flung a little higher, so I landed just a little closer to the house than he did. I looked back at him and he screamed for me to run and not worry about him. I didn't listen. I ran over to help him when something hit me square in my chest and knocked me back. "Don't look at it," my uncle screams. I wish I would have listened. I look up and see a man with a dog-like head and glowing, solid eyes. My uncle tries to scurry away from it, but it grabs him and picks him up by his feet and stares into his eyes. Then came the gunshots. The beast tossed my uncle into the tree and scurries away in fright. That's when my other uncle comes out from behind me and helps my uncle up off the ground. I slowly stand up, wiping myself off, and asked what the hell was that thing. The uncle that was with me says one word, "Skinwalker." Then all three of us go back to his house. A couple days later, the uncle that was with me was deployed overseas to Korea in the army. We tried to forget about it, but we just couldn't get it off our minds. One night I woke up at 4 a.m. I had a dream. I rubbed my eyes, let them adjust to the low level of lights. 2 glowing eyes are seen from right outside of my window. I grabbed my flashlight that I had in my room for late night bathroom runs, shined it out the window. Within a few seconds, whatever it was ran away, and I have yet seen it again. To this day, both of my uncles have not spoken a word about this and refused to speak about it. Today's ninth part of the upload. My friend, who happens to be an environmentalist out in the Pine Barrens, saw a Dogman in Manchester County, New Jersey. His name's John, and he and his friends were going back camping out into the woods on this large pickup truck. And he was looking toward the wood line to make sure no deer were going to jump into view. The truck was going about 40 miles an hour, and he noticed something was following them on the trail. He then told his friend to slow down a bit because they saw something following them, and before he could slow down, the creature jumped in the middle of the pathway, and then back into the woods, and they all got a clear description of it. My friend said it was tall, 7 to 9 feet, with the body of a bodybuilder, perked ears, snout like a German Shepherd. He also said the appendages of this animal were very human-like, but with large claws on the end of its hand and feet, and a large bushy tail. After this event, he looked over at his friends, and they all looked like they had just seen a ghost, with the blood draining out of their face. He still tells the story to this day, and I believe every word of it, because, number one, I've talked to his friends who were with him, and they all say the same thing. Today's 10th part of the upload. Back in July of 2004 near Gallup, New Mexico, I had my first and only encounter with something I can't explain. Before this, I used to say, I'll believe it when I see it. Well, I'm a believer now. What I saw was neither full human nor full animal. I was moving and had just completed the cleaning and was with my 10-year-old son. We had called it a night and we headed to our new place. As we walked out the front door, I saw a figure move from behind my neighbor's car to the nearby tree that stood between our apartments. It didn't have red glowing eyes, snarling teeth, or a rotten smell. It did move quickly, but not quick enough to avoid the light from the nearby light post and the porch lights. It didn't look at me or come towards me. It moved as if it was trying to be avoided seeing. I was within 15 feet of it, but I did not look back to fully inspect it. What I saw was a wolf-like animal that sort of resembled the Beast in Beauty and the Beast, just not cartoonish. It had brown fur that completely covered it. It was not a pelt. It was a very large wolf. It didn't have any human traits except that it walked on its hind legs. It cowered behind the tree as we got into our vehicle. When we got in, I asked my son, "Did you see that?" Thankfully, he hadn't. My brother-in-law insists that it was not a Skinwalker because I wouldn't have seen it. To this day, I can picture what it looked like. I know they exist. I know something exists out there. Today's last part of the upload. So to preface this experience, I was driving on State Road 54, a road in Florida that goes all through the state, and for the most part, used to be all woods. It was about 3:40 in the morning. I was driving to my friend's house, who lives 45 minutes away, to carpool to our job in the city, about 90 minutes away from where he lived. I was leaving the city I lived in and was driving through the more heavily wooded areas. At a red light, as I was waiting for the light to turn green, I saw a glow of two bright orange eyes. The woods were about 25 feet from the main road. The eyes were getting closer, like it hadn't seen me. And it looked to be 7 to 8 feet tall, and was thin, actually quite thin. It was too dark to see any features, but when our eyes connected, the thing bolted into the woods. It just didn't look human, frankly. At this point, I thought it may have been a bear or something, as it was standing on its back legs. And, I mean, that son of a bitch was quick for its size. I have no idea what it was. And there you have it, folks. I hope you all enjoyed this night-ending bonus upload as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I'd like to thank you all for supporting the channel.
It is, after all, your support that helps this channel to continue to grow and go, and what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we deserve. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and our friends. These creatures are real. These events have happened. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions. Never stop searching for the truth. God bless you all.